Hello, Denise Fleck, Pet Safety Crusader here, talking to you about rescuing Tweety or helping bugs feel better before veterinary care is available. I'm talking about first aid for our feathered and our tiniest of furry friends. And if you share your life with one of these or care for them as a professional pet sitter or even as another family member for one of your family members, it's important that we know what to do for our tinier feathered and furry family members as well. Hey Barbara, nice to have you joining in. So yes, I'm talking about rescuing Tweety or helping bugs feel better before veterinary care is available. Do you know that there's over 10,000 species of birds out there? Now, of course, all of these wouldn't cohabitate with us. There are some that have been domesticated and can live a wonderful life in our homes if we know how to properly care for them. And that's the key, to know how to properly care. And all of my years of teaching dog and cat first aid, coupled with being on an animal response team and volunteering at a shelter, I realized, obviously, that there are other species out there besides our canine and feline best pals, that some of us choose to have other types of pals, maybe along with or instead of the dogs and cats that many of us have in our lives. So it's important we know what to do, because as much as we'd like to keep them all in a plastic bubble, life is going to happen and something is going to, occur in which your tiniest little friend needs some help. So like I said, there are a whole lot of birds out there, and birds can live from like 3 to 80 years. So along with tortoises, there are some of the species that can actually outlive us and may have to go in our wills and be inherited by our younger family members and passed on down, because sometimes they may outlive us. So it's important, in order for them to have that good long life that they were intended to have, that we know what to do when they're not feeling their best. So what I decided to do is I wrote a couple more books and I created a couple of classes for you so that you can just really be up to speed and know exactly what to do. But what I also tried to do is give you some background on the different diseases your pets might get, how to do a head to tail feathers check of your bird, or the regular head to tail of your guinea pigs or rabbits or mice or rats or hamsters or gerbils or whatever you share your life with. But it's just, I also tried to provide you some information that, although you spend your time with and you play and you take care of these creatures, you just may not have known about before. Like, do you realize that rabbits and guinea pigs don't belong to the same genre, so to speak? Rabbits are what are called lagomorphs. Just like we call a dog a canine and a cat a feline, a rabbit's a lagomorph. But a guinea pig, a hamster, a gerbil, a rat, and a mouse, they're actually rodents. And what separates them are two things. Rabbits have a second set of incisors behind their front teeth that the rodents do not. It's little peg teeth. Secondly, they have what's often referred to as a second type of poop. I hope none of you are enjoying lunch right now. They're actually called cecotropes. And it's just so important that you learn that rabbits have a completely different digestive system than us, our dogs, and our cats. And it's so important that you're aware of that, because one thing that can happen to rabbits that is deadly is what's called GI stasis, gastrointestinal stasis, where their intestines basically stop. They go into stasis. And so anytime if a rabbit hasn't, eaten for 24 hours or pooped in 12, it's really important you get them checked out by a veterinarian. And for these species, our birds, our rabbits, our mice, and so on, we often need to have a specialized veterinarian, because not necessarily all veterinarians that handle dogs and cats are specialized. And they went to veterinary school and they know about all of these animals, but typically they don't always practice on these other species. So it's your responsibility as a conscientious pet parent to know where to go for help when it's needed. A lot of our rodent friends, rats in particular, get something called bumblefoot. And it's like a staph infection, and it can be very painful for them. And you're going to want to know what to do, which typically is to soak it in an Epsom salt solution, but also get veterinary care, because they may also need antibiotics. So this is what I've done for you. I've written 2 new books. basic bird first aid and first aid basics for rabbits and pocket pets. And I've tried to outline all of the basics you need to know about care, what they should eat, what kind of habitats they should live in. And then we also get down to the first aid, where you can see I've kind of spelled it out. I don't think you can see too well. It's kind of a dark, overcast day today, so even with lights on, I apologize. It's not the brightest here. But we have the, the different diseases or illnesses and injuries, the signs and symptoms, and then the action steps you need to take to get your furry friend or your feathered friend back to good health. I've given you the details on how to check vitals and what they should be eating and how much. And I've been honored that some various shelters, these are from the Animal Rescue League in Iowa, and some others have offered some beautiful color photos so that you can really get a handle on what these creatures look like. Same thing for the birds, and I have to say that this book has a special dedication to a dear feathered friend of mine named Nico, who recently passed away, but was an amazing little kind of clown of a bird. And I know his family misses him terribly, but he was a special bird, and he graces the cover, and you can read his story in the book as well. But I'm not leaving you just with a book, because I know some of us don't just like to read. You kind of need to see things, and you want to be talked through. So what I have created are 2 self-guided tours. Basically, they're webinars, but they're recordings with slides, and you can go through them at your own pace and learn all of the things you need to know, basically the 411 on how to take care of birds, rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, gerbils, mice, and rats. So if you're doing this just for your own knowledge, these books are all available on Amazon, and the classes are available on my website, petsafetycrusader.com/products/classes, that you can sign up at any time and take at your leisure. If you in particular are an animal professional, a rescue volunteer, a professional pet sitter, or other person that's so inclined to actually want to get the certificate for having completed the class, that is available as well. These are certificate courses. There's a short multiple choice true-false test that follows each webinar, and with 80% or higher, your certificate will be in the mail, so to speak. So I hope those of you that share your lives with feathered or the tiniest of furry creatures will take me up on my offer here, because I've worked hard to get you the information you need to know to be the best possible caretaker you can of these pets. And it's just so important that we know ahead of time what to do, so that we literally can go on autopilot and don't waste unnecessary time when a treatment needs to be had. Very often for our small friends, if they have swelling, actually just putting some baking soda on a damp gauze and applying that pressure can alleviate some of the swelling. Not always, but that's one of the tips that's offered. If we have to clean wounds for our smaller friends, we often will use either a povidone iodine solution or a betadine, but what you want to do is you want to dilute it with purified water down to the color of a weak iced tea. So little tips like this can be really helpful and get you on the right paw, the right feather, the right track, so to speak, to help a pet when he needs you most. So thanks so much, as always, for listening to me today. I hope you'll share with your friends who have these tiny creatures in their lives that I've now created some information that will hopefully help them to be even better pet parents and pet caregivers. So paws crossed for pet safety, feathers too, no matter the size of the critters in your home. Have an awesome possum day. Bye-bye.